A warm good morning to all present here today at this international workshop on translation studies. I, on behalf of Amity University, Chhattisgarh, welcome you all to this significant workshop and hope all of us learn many new aspects of language and literature today. We have amongst us today Professor Piyush Kant Pandey sir, who is the Vice Chancellor of Amity University, Chhattisgarh in Raipur, India. He has earned a master's degree in ferrous metallurgical chemistry from Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University in Raipur in the year 1987 and a PhD in environmental depositions chemistry in 1998. During his doctoral studies, he received a research fellowship in 1994 in environmental protection and formation of from the Ministry of HRD, the Government of India, and the Czech Republic. He also holds a PG diploma in management and was conferred a PhD Fellow of Management from IIM Indore in 2018. His IIM thesis was titled Legitimation Strategies in Controversial Industries, a case study of a tobacco conglomerate. He was the first to discover arsenic and fluoride poisoning in the central Indian region. His research team then focused on all aspects of health, including contamination extent, bioaccumulation, polluted water treatment, and contaminated soil repair. As a result of his achievements, he was designated a Government of India regulator and a recognized EIA expert. He was a member of the Government of India's State Environmental Assessment Committee for 3 years, appointed by the Ministry of Environment and Forest through a Gazette notification. He has already mentored 25 PhD students and 2 pursuing scholars, 25 master's students, and 27 master's diploma theses. He is a productive researcher who has worked on national and internationally funded research initiatives and has completed 12 research projects. He has worked on major scientific research projects funded by the Department of Science and Technology Systems Group in New Delhi, the All India Council of Technical Education in New Delhi, the CG Council of Science and Technologies Research Promotion Scheme under DST, New Delhi, funding the Bhilai Steel Plant in Bhilai, and the Board of Research on Nuclear Sciences of BARC in Mumbai. Professor Pandey, a visionary with over 35 years of teaching, research, and academic administrative experience, joined Amity University, Chhattisgarh as Pro-Vice Chancellor. And prior to his current position, he was the Dean of the Indian Institute of Health Management Research in Jaipur. He was also the founding member of Bhilai Institute of Technology in Raipur and the Bhilai Institute of Technology in Durg. May I now invite Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to deliver the inaugural address.
Thank you very much, Madam. And really, it's a matter of great pleasure for me that we are having such a wonderful one-day online international workshop is being organized on translation studies. I can see, first of all, Dr. Indrani, I welcome Dr. Indrani Singh Rai, Madam. I welcome Dr. Nilofer Khozeva, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. So nice, Madam. So nice to see you here. Dr. Muhaiminul Islam, and with a very kind remembrance of our founder president, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, our chairman, Dr. Asim Chauhan, our chancellor, Dr. W. Selvamurthy. It gives me a great pleasure, first of all, also to welcome. And in fact, I have been invited to give inaugural address, but in fact, this occasion is taking me back to 1994. When I was in Czech Republic, I got a PG scholarship to conduct a research with EPA in Black Triangle states. Black Triangle was Czech Republic, Germany, and Poland. And I remember the kind of, in fact, the name of Dr. Khozeva also, it's a very common, surnames over there. So really, it was giving me a great, kind of the remembrance of the old days when I'm dealing and interacting with a person from Uzbekistan. And as far as the subject is concerned, the topic is concerned, the translation and translation studies to me as a practical person, I had been in the Czech Republic in 1994. Now, remember that was the day when the international travels, international movement was not so common. And initially, I remember when I landed at the Czech airport, I'm in the Prague airport. I had a great difficulty to reach to my destination because till that time I had not picked up the Czech language, and the understanding of the English was not so high in Czech Republic because they were more fluent in either in German or Russian, but not in English. So really, on that day, I could understand that how it is very, very important to have a cross-cultural connection, cross-cultural, bonding also, and ability to understand and convey the things to each other is really very, very important. And if the ignorance of the language, sometimes makes you miss the essence of the local things, miss the various wonderful things which can be there, you can miss.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay, fine. So the essentially I am telling you that slowly then I started to pick up the Czech language, and then I could understand that how you connect with the local people, connect the local traditions, and so many wonderful things can be coming out with that. And also there are so many things we miss, but without knowing the language. And therefore I feel the translation as a working part on a exchange between the two communities or the two nationalities whenever they meet is very, very, very important. For example, recently we had a G20 meet wherein we had 20 major nations who are over here. And of course, I could understand that it's different parts of the world people are there. It's very, very important that they should be able to understand each other, what is being taught, what is or whatever what is being discussed. So this ability, this translation itself, interpretation, and this has opened the doors of a new kind of jobs also. And that is one part on the operative part, which is I said that today when you go to any part of Europe, Europe is a wonderful country, the continent where every country is having a different language. So understanding that to be able to interact with the people and gain much more by those kind of visits requires a wonderful appreciation, understanding of language also. Translation, interpretation plays a very, very important role. And I, as a person connected with the engineering, I can also see that in fact a huge amount of progress is being done in the field of translation by the assistant and assistance of the computers, particularly the AI and in these ones. This is coming with so wonderful tools that the day will not be far where we can keep on conversing in our own language and it will be translated in the whichever country we are visiting. So that is one part on the translation part. But coming to the translation studies, particularly the literature part, I was looking at the Dr. Nilofer's Kozjeva's work also. It was wonderful to see that she has worked on a Premchand. Now, Premchand is something, is a one writer, which most of we Indians associate very deeply that way, because in the very beginning of our student career, we read the stories and others of Premchand, and you have worked so deeply on the Premchand, and also Dr. Nilofer. When I saw that the various words which you have used, the semantics and all that studies we did, I had the same feeling when I was in the Czech Republic and these parts of the Eastern Europe. There are many words, not only in the Uzbek language, maybe in every language, there are a lot of exchanges has really taken place between Indo-Aryan languages, and a lot of similarities are there. In fact, many words which was used in Czech Republic, I could feel, oh, this is a Hindi word, how come they are using it? So that kind of feeling was there. So I really appreciate on this wonderful topic, Dr. Moiminul Islam and Dr. Indrani Mukherjee and Dr. Supriya Kakun, you have taken an initiative, and such a wonderful international webinar is being organized. I can see more than 72 participants are there. As you all know that MIT University as such, we are also a a global university that way. Almost there's more than 14 nations we are operating. So obviously, this kind of a studies, this kind of exchanges, this kind of a cross-cultural and international cooperation would be going a long way now contributing to the real growth of the world as a whole. Because we are in our global village, we understand whatever happens in one part of the world will really be affecting us. Therefore, even from the literature point of view, also I feel that it was only that when the Gita was translated in English only, then only the Western world could understand what are the essence of the philosophical depth India is having. Rabindranath Tagore, for that, so many people, when his poem was translated in English only, then only he could get the Nobel Prize. So I'm sure that it's so much is there to learn and get the gems from each other's culture. So, and particularly Uzbekistan and this part, I feel there is a huge. Sometimes I get a feeling that maybe the migration of Aryans must have started from that part of the world only to maybe India and the rest of the Europe. So that may be a theory only, but I'm really very happy to have Dr. Nilofer Kozheva over here, and I appreciate and welcome you and congratulate the entire our Amity School of Languages for this wonderful program. And I'm looking forward to more and greater interaction and understanding from Dr. Nilofer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. With your motivation and motivation of our Dean ma'am, this has been made possible for us, and I hope you continue to motivate the department, sir, in the same manner as you've always been. As part of the literature and language fraternity, we all know translation is more than just changing the words from one language to another. Translation builds bridges between cultures. It allows you to experience cultural phenomena that would otherwise be too foreign and remote to grasp, though through your own cultural lens. With this perspective in mind, we have with us today Dr. Nilofer Kozheva, Head of the Department South and Southeast Asian Languages at Tashkent State University of Oriental Studies. Professor Nilofer was born in 1983 at Tashkent, Uzbekistan. In 2006, she graduated from Tashkent State Institute of Oriental Studies with BA Hindi, and in 2009 with MA Translation Theory and Practice. From 2011 till 2020, she worked as a lecturer at the Tashkent State Institute of Oriental Studies as Faculty of Oriental Philology, Department of Translation Theory and Practice. From 2016, she was a PhD researcher at the Tashkent State Institute of Oriental Studies. From 2020 up to 23, as the head of the Department of Translation Studies and International Journalism at the Tashkent State University. From 2023, September onwards, she is the head of the Department South and Southeast Asian Languages at Tashkent State University of Oriental Studies. She did her PhD on lexico-stylistic features of Premchand's Uzbek translations. During her professional work, she attended a number of international and national conferences and seminars with speeches on literary and general issues of translation theory. She wrote articles on general issues of Uzbek translation theory, as well as translation problems of Hindi and Uzbek languages. She is the author of guidebook on general issues of technical translation, theory of translation, Premchand in Uzbek translation, and Hindi-Uzbek and Uzbek-Hindi physiological dictionary. Likewise, she published and collected translations for the collection Masterpieces of Uzbek Literature in Hindi. Dr. Kozheva attended with speeches several national and international conferences, seminars, symposiums, and webinars in Uzbekistan, Russia, Azerbaijan, Turkey, Korea, Malaysia, and in several universities, as well as different organizations of India. All topics contain different issues of translation. Likewise, regarding of relay translation from Oriental languages, concerning translation problems of Hindi phraseology, semantics of the word related to women, transfer of concept Dalit in literary translation, concerning a problem of Uzbek translations of Premchand, Hindi translated literature in Uzbekistan, etc. She has published articles in national and international journals. Likewise, Oriental Studies, Modern Turkish Studies, Uzbek Language and Literature, Orient Pharaohs, Translation Today, International Scientific Journal, Theoretical and Applied Sciences, with articles concerning Uzbek literature in Hindi, translation of Hindi phraseology with equivalents and analogs, transfer of clothing in literary translations from Uzbek to Hindi, problems of translating Hindi proverbs with Uzbek equivalents, problems of translating technical texts, terminology of simultaneous translation, transfer of historical and national singularity in literary translation, regarding some problems of translation from Hindi to Uzbek, translator skills of Amir Fazullah, borrowings from Hindi into Uzbek through literary translations, etc. She is the first researcher who worked on a contrastive linguistics and translation studies of Hindi into Uzbek language. In 2023 February, she was awarded the Vishwa Hindi Samman by ICCR and Ministry of Foreign Affairs of India. Ma'am, we are all very eager to listen to you. May I have the absolute privilege to hand over to you the further proceedings of the workshop.
Thank you. First of all, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. It's an honor to participate in this seminar, and I want to thank Professor Piyush Kant Pandey, sir, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Chhattisgarh, Dr. Muhammad Islam, Assistant Professor, Amity School of Languages, Amity University, Chhattisgarh. Ma'am, Suparna ma'am, I thank you also to introducing so deeply and all over my works and all. It was very interesting, have to say, to participate here in your university. And as I informed, there's a lot of students participating from several universities of India. First of all, I want to say that I was also a student of India because I am a Hindi student of Uzbekistan. Then, of course, I've studied in India also. As Professor Piyush Kant reminded himself, his very bad research time in Czech Republic. So if I remind myself from 2003, when I was in Delhi University as a student, I didn't know, I was a second year student and I have got scholarship from ICCR and I went to India. I didn't know anything, like the general words, general things, how to read, but after this, after 20 years, I'm in this stage because of my love to India, to Hindi, to Indian people, and that's why I'm here with you. Today, I will share some experience and as well as the research steps of my work, because I started from the university learning Hindi, because in Uzbekistan we have schools where teach Hindi, but I started from university learning Hindi, and I fell in love with this language. I fell in love with this language from the first year. Of course, it's a role of our professors also, because when professors are making us to love this culture, language, then we get to know, we realize that we need it. So, and I want to say that tomorrow, 1st October, and it's Teachers' Day in Uzbekistan. It's celebrating Teachers' Day in Uzbekistan. And from this occasion, I want to congratulate all professors whom I see in this webinar. And now I'll proceed for lecture itself.
Before that, ma'am, can we hear a few sentences in English and in Hindi from you?
Yeah, of course. Now I will start talking in Hindi also.
Oh, that's great.
Because my samples on all analyzes in Hindi, but
Great.
in the start, when I asked a question to Muhammad that there will be people knowing Hindi and etc., he said that there will be several people from several parts of India, so it's better to do a presentation in English. So that's why I started in English. Otherwise, मुझे हिंदी बहुत पसंद है, मुझे हिंदी से बहुत प्यार है, और मेरे जो विद्यार्थीगण है और यहाँ पर जो मौजूद अध्यापकगण है उनको बहुत प्यार है हिंदी से, और जहाँ भी जाऊं मैं मतलब हिंदी को लेकर ही जाती हूँ। और आजकल हमारे यहाँ पर हिंदी और उज़्बेकी अनुवाद पर समस्याएं हैं, क्योंकि आपको मालूम है कि पहले तो हिंदी और रशियन के साथ भी चलते थे, पर स्वतंत्रता प्राप्त करने के बाद उज़्बेकी और हिंदी और भारत और उज़्बेकिस्तान के बीच जो संबंध है वो उनकी उन्नति हो रही है, प्रगति हो रही है। तो इसीलिए आजकल हमें हिंदी और उज़्बेकी अनुवाद पर बहुत समस्याएं हल करना है।
बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया, धन्यवाद।
अगर इजाजत देंगे तो
धन्यवाद,
लेक्चर शुरू करेंगे।
श्योर, बिल्कुल मैडम।
First of all, I will get to plan whatever we will learn today. I will start from history of translation of Hindi and Uzbek, Indian and Uzbek literature, between Indian and Uzbek literature. Then first translation, then Uzbek literature translation into Hindi, then Premchand translation, and lexical issues of translation. We'll go further. So first of all, I want to say that notwithstanding the fact that Uzbek Indology going back to medieval time of Al-Biruni's Indica, until nowadays had undergone a difficult and complicated way to be abundant of ups and downs. A genuine scientifically systematic tradition in this respect should be truly attributed to the middle of the 20th century, when in the wake of independence of India at the Tashkent State University, there was established Department of Indian Philology. Along with teaching Hindi and Urdu languages, its staff members as well as their students started a noble work of translation of the best books of Indian writers and poets in their own tongue, in Uzbek. Concerning initial specimens of Indian fiction rendered in Uzbek, one can mention Rabindranath Tagore's novel Subha, translated and published in magazine Maarif and Oktuche, The Education and Teacher. As early as in 1925, though many of Indian writers' compositions has been translated into Uzbek between 1950 and 60, but until 1958, they were usually relay translations through a mediator language, mostly Russian. So here in slide, you can see that the first translations through mediator language, through Russian, had been done by like Ramayana has translated by Muhammad Ali, the writer of Uzbekistan, through Russian, and the first translation of Premchand was also through Russian language by Mr. Tolipov, Krishan Chandra Yashpal, Navtej, Krishan, again, the literary translation had been firstly translated not by translators, but by writers and the people who know Russian language, not Hindi. And therefore, it's important to note that apart from several MA theses, it's in the start of language. There is a wide range of problems connected with the practical issues pertaining to models of translation from Indian languages. taking into account a unique feature of the Indian fiction reflecting ancient historical as well as rich traditions, diverse customs and habits, which are sometimes available in various dialects, and therefore they create many difficulties for translator testing their abilities in the realms of artistic narration of events described by Indian writers. While the translation into Uzbek from Western speech had already developed drastically, at the same time as for Oriental ones, we had mostly translations from Arabic and Persian only. Regarding the masterpieces of Indian literature, as one can observe that even today we come across a sufficient number of relay translations. It is very fortunate that since last decades, in Uzbekistan, many universities began to supplement special divisions dealing with translation theory, and in India also, because most universities, they're working on languages, but very few universities had a translation studies departments, because as we know, a lot of researchers, scholars had to confirm that the translation studies, it's not as a field. It has to be studied under languages or under literature. But the scholar of translation studies in Uzbekistan, Professor Ghaibullah Salamov, he solved this problem, and he showed, and he wrote a lot of books on translation studies. It's from 1970 itself, and he proved that translation studies, it's not the under languages or under literature, it's main subject, and he started promoting this field, this subject, and he started opening the departments of translation studies itself there at that time in Uzbekistan. So it started from 1970, the promotion of translation studies as a subject, and then it opened the department, then faculty. So it started like this only. But in some countries, still we don't have a translation studies departments, like fields. It's studied very rare. The first occasion to initiate retort translation from Hindi into Uzbek for wide circulation began in 1962. This palm of success belongs to late senior lecturer of the department, Rahmanberdi Muhammadjanov, who triumphantly translated from Urdu a golden masterpiece, Premchand's Godan. Later on, in 1967, the Uzbek readers received an excellent rendering of Nirmala from Hindi, like translation, because whenever we face relay translation, some cultural specification, we cannot find. There will be mistakes on specification while relaying on another language. For example, in our case, it's Russian. So Russian culture and Uzbek culture are different, and Indian culture more close to Uzbek culture rather than Russian culture. So there will be some specification in translation. So it will create some misunderstandings. Let's have a look on these books from these translations of Uzbek literature into Hindi. This happened in between 1978 and 1983. This kind of books of Uzbek poets and writers, like you can see on the picture Babur, Adil Yakubov, Askat Mukhtar, this kind of names written in Hindi. And these translations happen because of interpreter, translator Sudhir Kumar Mathur, who lived in Russia for many years and translated from Uzbek literature, from Russian literature, a lot of works of Central Asian countries, and especially Uzbek writers' works, masterpieces into Hindi. And this is also mostly, some of them relay translations through Russian, and some of them are direct translation, but it has been translated word by word by Hindi knowing professors, and Professor Sudhir Kumar Mathur adapted it into Hindi. So this is the right way of doing translation to another language from a mother tongue. But it is this rule is according to written translation. In oral translation, it's easy and it's happening to do translation from mother tongue into a foreign language, because whenever we do oral translation, we have to understand well first, then we have to translate. That's why the written translation and oral translation also, they differ in some rules. As we know, the general rules of translation, theory of translation, and specific theory of translation between two languages, because some of languages, they have same family languages, and we have different family languages. As Uzbek and Hindi, we know that it's not in one family, but the interesting part of that we have historical and cultural similarity, and in this case we have a very close lexicology, vocabulary, we have words as the same, but they also, in my lecture, I will show the differences of meanings also, even if we have same words, but we have differences between our languages. This is the person, Amir Faizullah, who started his noble work. He is an interpreter who translated a lot of work from Hindi, Urdu into Uzbek, as well as from Uzbek into Hindi and Urdu languages. He was awarded Dr. George Grierson International Prize for his works, and all my research on his translations, how he translated, I even used to go to him and ask, why did you translate this way? Why did you translate this way? He used to answer me always. But in 2020, he got sick and he's no more with us. But the main person in translation from Hindi into Uzbek, he is the main person. For whole of his life, he did translations from Hindi, and he never stopped. On his line of translations, first place takes Premchand, because he has done Premchand's translations. Most of Premchand's translations done by him only. Like if we see the very first translation is 1967, started from Raban, and the last translations by Amir Faizullah, and it was Wardan. And in my research also, I have learned the artistic and how translator worked, because in the start of translation and in the end of in the start, he was very young, how what kind of things he has done, and what was the mistakes or what was the best things about him. And whenever he gets professional, right? Whenever he gets more knowledge about translation, about culture of India, and how he has done his translation in 2009. So there was a difference, of course. In the first translation of him, he started he tried more word by word translation. He didn't want to miss anything in translation. He translated all words. He tried to translate all words in his first translation in 1967. But in 2009, when I asked him, why you translated this? Why did you miss these words? He said, the most thing is to give, to recreate, to transfer the meaning of, and it should be understandable for reader. And I said, why you miss this word? Why you miss this kind of things? I asked. He said, sometimes we are not translating the word, we are translating meaning. And we can translate from one language to another language without using any single word of original text, and we can translate it, the meaning, with another word, with another way of translation. So whenever I do analysis of translations, I earn a lot of experience, because every word have to translate, the way of translation, it's another lesson for you, for yourself. You get to analyze, you get to know whatever written is there, how to translate, because sometimes I used to analyze, then we used to criticize more in early times, like he did mistake here, he didn't give this word, he didn't do like this. We start like this only, but whenever you start thinking, what is your opinion on this? How you will translate if you will be in place of him? So this is the clue. This is the answer you should get, first of all, before criticize the translation, before criticize or give opinion on wrong or right. So what you will give replace of this translation. So only after that we can realize that he was right or he was wrong, or how was it? Because when you do translation, after that, first you do translation for yourself. Only after some time, when the people start reading you, it should be understandable for them. And the main thing, not for yourself, translation not for yourself, but for people. You have to make it understandable for people. That's why we should be clear how to translate and what to translate in from original text to target text. Some samples are here on phraseology, how to translate and how it was translated from Hindi into Uzbek. तीसरे दिन प्रताप चंद्र की पुस्तक कपड़े और अन्य सामग्रियां आ पहुंची. ये घाव पर नमक छिड़काव था. In Uzbek, it will sound like this. I know that the people here cannot understand Uzbek, but I want you hear how it will sound in Uzbek. Uchinchi kun Pratap Chandraning kitoblari, kiyim-kechaklari va boshqa lashlushlari ham yetib keldi. Bu o'lganning ustiga tepgan bilan baravar edi. Here, Ghav par namak ka chirkav, the phraseology in Hindi, translated as with the analogy, like o'lganning ustiga tepgan. Not the same meaning is given in Uzbek. The structure and meaning, not only the meaning is given. So here phraseology is going like namak ghav par namak ka chirkav, given as kicking on a dead man in Uzbek language, but the meaning of that the similar. Sometimes translator should not, like, cannot translate the equivalence of phraseology, because every culture, every nation has own specific culture and own specific lexicology. So sometimes analogy, the way of analogy, but the meaning should be there. So this way, Amir Faizullah translated this part of from Vardan. Rah dekte dekte ankem patra gayin. Yo'lingizni qarayverib ko'zlarim teshildi-ku. Looking at your way, waiting for you. I'm tired of waiting for you. The same meaning, like in English. I was waiting for you, and I'm tired waiting for you. And the Ankem Patra Gayin translated into Uzbek as the same meaning, like my eyes are tired waiting for you. The next one, itna sunnat haki kamlaki nani mar gayi. So nani marjana, we know as if we will translate it by word by word, it will be like dead of grandma. And it sometimes the phraseology can be false also, false friend, like sometimes we can understand it as the same word, not phraseology. Like here, itna sunnat haki kamlaki nani mar gayi. We can understand it that we have heard that Kamla's grandmother is dead. We can translate like this also if we don't know the exact meaning and exact context. But here, the translator understood the real meaning and like translated as buni eshitib Kamlacharining tarvuzi qo'ltig'idan tushdi. He got sad, like translated as he heard about it and Kamla got sad. So, and this kind of phraseology translated into Uzbek with phraseology, with this emotional and specific words where the translator can do translation, and he has done his well in phraseology. So it's three ways of, in theory, 3 ways of translation of phraseology we can see. First is equivalency, which is same with the original language and target language, like translation language, which have a same meaning and same structure. It will be fully equivalency. And the second theory of translation of phraseology, it's analogy. It means that you'll translate meaning, but structure may differ. But like here, we can see Nani Margai, and he got sad of if. We will see in English, we can give another phraseology. The students can think about it, how we will translate it into English. Ghav par namak ka chirkav. What is the English analogy or equivalency of this phraseology in English? Ankem patre gayi. How we will say it in English? And Kamla Nani Marjana. Nani Mar Gayi. How we will do this translation in English? So at the end of lecture, I will ask, write down in the chat box, students, how will be the translations of this phraseology in English. And the most complicated thing in Indian literature, I may say, Indian literature, it is addressings, translation of addressing, because we know that the India has different states with different languages and parts with the similarity and differentiation in culture, in the words. And for Indian people, it's okay, you will understand each other. But for foreigners, when you do the interaction, so sometimes the people cannot understand the meaning of addressings and all. So that's why the main issue of this kind of things we can see them in addressings. So translation of addressing, so we can see in thematic groups, addressing which appeal general respect, addressing according to social status and origin, addressing according kinship or other relationship, ordinary addressing, addressing which denotes emotional expressiveness, call and addressing to animal and other beast. So this is the theory of division, addressing. So we can see the samples how we will do before I will explain some theoretical part on this. As it is known, India is a multinational, multilingual, and multicultural country. This situation certainly affects to the language and literature. Consequently, various linguistic situations in the linguistic community are also reflected on literary works. In the Hindi novels, we can find active use of different dialects of Indian community. One Hindi-knowing foreign translator may know only Hindi. The facing different dialects during translation may affect on the quality of the translated work. Certainly, languages of India in their structure, spelling, and semantics are totally different. If some of the languages belong to the Indo-European language family, other part belongs to Dravidian family. Therefore, the translation of the lexical lawyer in literary works is not always successful. It is necessary to translate it, not only know Hindi well, but be well informed about Indian languages and dialects too. Apart from cultural specifications, the addressing terms can be divided into different semantic groups and stylistic layers as per their performance in the speech. During dialogues with Indian scholars, we get to know of their own experience. The one describes that while addressing to a known woman in Udgir or Hyderabad, they call Hala or Mausi. In fact, these two words mean aunt. The Urdu-speaking people use word Hala and Marathi speakers use Mausi. Later in his studies in Hyderabad, in the very start stage of my PhD, I was doing research in Central University of Hyderabad. I get to know that there is a Center of Translation Studies, Applied Linguistics and Translation Studies. So I went there and I met a lot of scholars on contrastive, comparative language, comparative literature, and contrastive linguistics and translation studies. So in that case, I did the oral experience, like how to do, how to say, how to address. So the one Nowadays, he is a professor in Gujarat University, Dr. Sujauddin Chapparban. He was the one who explained me this kind of thing. As it's known in Hindi, the word Amma means mother, and it occurs mainly in the speech of the Urdu-speaking population of India. However, the population occupied in South Indian region, Tamil and Telugu speakers also use the word Amma to refer to unknown woman. Nowadays, currently the scholar works in, he was also a PhD student in that time. So this kind of things we can use as according to relationship and to unknown people also. So the scholar Basu emphasized the use of the word Dada, which means grandfather, from father's side in Hindi, Punjabi, Gujarati. The same word Assamese, Bengali, and Marathi means elder brother. And in Sindhi, the word used to address to father. So only in India, one word Dada, we can see the differentiation of meaning only in one country. So that if we will read Premchand mostly used to describe the life of people North and mostly West Bengal people. So in his novels, I faced mostly the addressing Dada. And I used to think why he's always using this in characters dialogue. It is used Dada, but then I get to know while doing research that he was not calling because as a relationship he is not the one is nobody for him, but why he was always calling him grandfather. I was like thinking about it, but after getting to know this kind of problems of addressing also in Indian between Indian languages, so it will create the problem for foreigner language learning people while doing literary translation. The difficulty which can face foreign translator while translating such terms is that someone address term has different kind of synonyms which should be appealed according to age, status, religion, region of stay, occupation, etc. And others are the same but used in different meaning as per given example. Here we can see Dayanat ne kaha, bhai tum jano, tumhara kaam jane, mujh mein samai nahi hai. Here the bhai is like we know brother in Hindi, and while we do the translation we can translate it brother. But here, as we see the dialogue of context, we can see that this addressing is to his wife. And how we will do translation if we don't know the specification of addressings? Are bhai, so I was surprised that the interpreter and translator Amar Fazlullah, he did very right way. Like he said, he translated as wife. Xotin har kim ko'rpasiga qarab oyoq uzatgani yaxshi dedi Dayonat. You must know that there is a word hatun. It's old Turkic word, and it is addressing to wife in Uzbek language. So replacement of bhai, that interpreter translated hatun means wife. So in case if the one doesn't know how to do the translation in right way, they could do mistake with addressing, so there will be misunderstanding in dialogue also for reader. And now this is the sample, for example, for all of you, that not always we do translation with the same structure word. Like bhai, we understand as brother, but there is a semantics, the meanings of in the context, in the dialogue, and we have to get, we had to be conscious to do to understand the context. First of all, the main rule for translator, there is a three main, the first one is to know own language very well, mother tongue, to do translation into mother tongue from foreign language, and to second, to understand the culture and meanings in foreign language and how to translate to Uzbek language, because we have the stages of translating. And first stage of translating, it's understanding the text, understanding the meaning. The second stage is translation word by word. We have to translate word by word to get meaning for that. And last part is recreation. So once we do word by word translation, then we will see how to translate the phraseology, how we will do the addressing, how we will do special cultural specific words, how we will translate it. After that, only in third stage, the translator starting do recreation of work. The real translation will be at the end, the result of the recreation, it will be ready translation. So here, because this translation is the second one, example by Raban, and there was the small the mistake in translation. You can see Johri Baiji ऐसा हार अगर कोई 2000 में ला दो तो जो जुर्माना कहे दूं. Here Baiji is a female, it's addressing to female, but the translator translated it's like Babuji. And here the dialogue, in the dialogue there was a misunderstanding. The dialogue was with a woman, but why he is saying Babuji? So goes by, as you know, it's not bhai, it's a bai, it's addressing to woman. Here जोहरी कमी का नाम ना लीजिए हुजूर, ये चीज आपकी भेंट है. Here we can see the word huzur. Premchand used this word. Sometimes we use this word as great people or some people, like, you know, in that meaning. But here there was some sarcasm. Here he was saying that this thing which is you buying is very expensive. Don't say to do discount on this. The context of that. So that's why the character is saying this way, and the translator understands it very well, and he translates it in the same way how it should be translated. Next, here also we can see the different way of translating, of addressing. Here some of the words is disappeared in original. like here there is no addressing in Hindi, like Basanti ne Shahzadi ka haath pakadkar kaha, ab uthegi bhi ki yahi sari raat उपदेश ही देती रहेगी. In Uzbek, the translated added one word, replace of ab uthegi. You will stand or not? You will stand or not? Or you will sit like this? So many like. Why you are taking too much time? Don't be like, you know, don't play with my patient, this kind of thing. So the translator translated it. Hoy Esma, it means Batuni in Hindi, who is talking a lot. So this word, the translated added, because here the dialogue between friends, between girls is going on. That's why in the translation sometimes the interpreter has to add some words to be clear for reader the meaning of the text. Next one is Kano पर हाथ रखकर ना बाबा ये बोझ मेरे मन का नहीं. And here also the Baba here addressing, but there is no gender, no, it's just addressing to expressing that he is sorry. Kanon par hath rakhna, it's the saying sorry. So here translated again, not using the same word, but he's saying, I'm sorry, I will not do anymore like this. And the word Baba is disappeared, because the meaning here are not like father or not addressing, but like this meaning of this word, like between friends, we say there was no gender in this context. There is no gender of Baba, like not for men. It's just between friends, between wife and husband can be like this. Maaf kar do Baba, we use like this, but we don't know how to translate it in foreign language. Like we never say like sorry friend, like we do like this, but Baba has a special meaning in Hindi, and some of the words, less lexical units addressing can be untranslated. I think you have heard the theory untranslatability, and mostly it's in lingua cultural specification of translation. So untranslatability in translation. So we being as a foreigner to India, once we do translation, we face a lot of this kind of words which is not translated, and it will not be translated. We just transliterate it and giving the explanation under the text to make the understand. It's mostly in cultural specific words. Here also, हाँ बाबा बात यही है, तुम कैसे जान गए. Here also the addressing, so which is just meaning of to address someone, and in Uzbek it's not translated also. Here I have given some sentences on for mother and for father. Sometimes we know that in several works of literature works, and to explain the position and religious, and all the writers use different kind of addressings in Hindi, because Hindi it's very like how to say, the rich, has rich lexicology. Like whenever we read the literary text, we can see different kind of addressings, and in the first we can understand what religion the people, which state they live, or this kind of specification. In India, between Indian people in India, they can recognize, but whenever you go to translate it, like here, माँ से बोली, अम्मा मैं ये हार लूंगी, and next one, अम्मा जी, then Mataji is going. Like this is the differentiation in Hindi, like in literary text, and in Uzbek it translated as a mother only, like one word, and but in Hindi the synonyms maybe more, like for mother we can see a lot of words which can be used, like in that research I get to know that in some parts of India even use IE, which is nowadays in Uzbek language we call mother as oye, ona, and mostly we call like this. And in some parts of India, I can see the calling mother as Ai also. The second is Baba. Baba also, like we use in different earlier in previous examples, I have shown that Baba sometimes to the friend we can call Baba, we can call Baba unknown people also, and as well as we can we are calling in Hindi Baba, father as Baba, or we have Babuji, we have Pitaji, we have, but in different ways, in different texts, it differ how to call father also. But like as you know, the most population of Uzbekistan are Muslims, and in India, it's multicultural, multi-religious country, and here you can understand each other without explanation. But in Uzbekistan, we don't have like differentiation even in addressings between religious also. Like if you use mostly Urdu words, it can explain that the character is Muslim, or if there will be more English words, so in the literary text we can understand that the person character is English speaking people, or if it will be should Hindi, like Sanskritized words more, so we can understand that they are Hindu, or some they have some position, you know. So this kind of differentiations are faced in translation, and we can see that the not only knowing Hindi is enough for translator of Indian literature, of Hindi literature. We should know as a translator all regions, and when we start choosing the whom we should translate, we have to get to know, we have to learn about the writer, we have to learn about his life and what he is describing in his creations, in his work. And as you know, many descriptions for Premchand, like Premchand of Hindi, Shakespeare of Indian literature. I have heard this kind of description, and mostly Premchand, almost all novels of Premchand is translated into Uzbek, and a lot of short stories of Premchand translated. And then we can see the historical novels translated into Uzbek, but the famous one is Premchand, and that's why I was not only that Premchand is famous, but a lot of translation was available on Premchand, and it gave me opportunity to contrast the text and how it's translated, because some of the text is translated, like Godan is translated from Urdu, and the very first time I attended international conference in Jamia Millia Islamia, organized by Professor Muhammad Asaduddin, he called me, and it was a conference, Premchand in translation. And I was participating with my speech there was a historian, Harish Trivedi, Professor Harish Trivedi, and he said, don't you know that Premchand started from Urdu, like his very first works, and he wrote it in Urdu, like, and why you don't say like this? I said, like, then I saw that then I realized why in Hindi text of Premchand there's a lot of Urdu words, and then they started telling me that it was in Urdu. Then his son of Premchand recreated it, transliterated it into Devanagari, into Hindi. But last works of Premchand he wrote in Hindi, I guess. So this kind of historical facts also help to analyze what to do with translation, what is the origin of translation, and what was the source of interpreter, what is the source of author, and this kind of historical facts will help you to solve some kind of problems in translation. For this part, the translation of historical words, historical measurement words, sometimes it becomes historical words. Some of them they have a changing meaning. Some of them used as it was, but they have the structural picture of history when we use this kind of some lexical units. Like here we can see the measurement, ser. This is the measurement of in kg, like and in like in Uzbek, when the translator translated of some of measurement words, he transliterated, he leave it as it is. So this kind of things we can see in historical words, and whenever translator translated the words, he used more even historical words in like to compare nowadays. So this kind of things Amir Faizullah has done in translation of Vardan. For example, Sipahi word or officer word, Angrez officer, and the Sipahi word. For example, nowadays for officer, we have in Uzbek officer, which is means the same, but the translator to explain the timing of this novel, he used some old words in Uzbek, for example, Zabat, but Sipahi, I think in Hindi, it's not that kind of old word, but in Uzbek also, we have the word Sipahi, and it is more older. It heard as old word. For example, here there is a, we know that in Hindi, there is a phraseology of historical places also. Here it's written Kashi Chorkar Agre mein kaun marne jaye. So here, replace of Kashi, it's translated like this kind of good place. Who will go to Agra if there will be so Koshona? Yeah, it means the great place to live. And who will go to Agra today? So this kind of things the translator can create himself, and the one can learn how to do the translation in the right way and analyze this kind of. And here we can see the historical, religious, and the festival translation, like festival title translation, this kind of, and it can be similar in the meaning, but religiously it is different. Like here we can see the Janamashtami, Vrat Rakhna, Ekadashi. So in Vrat Rakhna and Roza Rakhna, sometimes the way of doing it's like similar, but the meaning of in religion it's differ, and the translator translate it as a Roza Rakhna, not Rat Rakhna, and he doesn't give the explanation. And if we will give for every cultural specification word the explanation of like festival or this kind of ceremony, religious ceremony and all, we cannot the reader, the attention of reader can go, like we can lose the reader. Sometimes it's better to adopt the meaning and to not explain whenever it is possible to do like this. But sometimes it's not possible to translate this kind of words and to give explanation. But here the interpreter translated as the Roza Rakhna, Roza tutmak in Uzbek language, but here he transliterated the word like ठीक जन्म के अवसर पर अपने घर की मूर्ति खेत में फिकवा दी, एकादशी व्रत टूटा, देवताओं की पूजा छूटी. Here he's translating like this. ठीक जन्म के अवसर पर, he translates शिवाजी के जन्म पर, explains ठीक जन्म के अवसर पर. So he explains why Janamashtami is, he's not explains, but in the text he is giving the name of goddess of Shiva, and in the same time all the problems are solved by translator. No need for explanation under text and this kind of things. This is also कुंती ने सूर्य को बुलाने के लिए कितनी तपस्या की थी. Here also Surya, we know as it's explained as a godness, but here it's given like only Surya. So translator added the word godness, and it's explained also. So sometimes the translator gets, and we also should get the way of translation and explanation in the text, not on the text, so that the reader will smoothly read the text and understand how to easily understand this way of translation. Okay. Here we can see the false friends of translator between Indian languages and Uzbek language, because the first one I said that false friends between Indian languages, the dada, which means in some parts grandfather, father of father, and some parts it's brother, elder brother, and some parts even father. And in Uzbek also, in Uzbek language also we have doda, which means grandfather. But in Uzbek language, the kinship relation, according to kinship words, we don't have the most, like, you know, division like in Hindi, like dada, dadi, nana, nani, this kind of divisions we don't have. So doda in Uzbek, it means grandfather. We can call father also dada, doda, and brother, mothers also, and fathers also. We can use the same, but it is doda, and nowadays we call our father dada. And this kind of similarity of the addressing, and it is sometimes used as a false friend of for interpreter who knows Hindi language. Dada, maybe it's sometimes we do translation right way, but whenever it face of regional like regional differentiation between Indian cultures and Indian states, like as a Premchand used dada for big brother, so in that case it will be difficult for translator to understand. And first of all, the translator should to know which one, who, and where the character is living, and what kind of language is mother tongue of character, and this kind of specification had to know the interpreter. And false friends between Hindi, Urdu, and Uzbek languages, like taklif, etbar. In Uzbek, taklif, in English, in Hindi, taklif, it means difficulty, but in Uzbek, taklif, it means invitation. So sometimes we know that sometimes it sounds close to our ears that, oh, it's similar with our, like, same word, but the interpreter must see the dictionary if he has some doubt about it, because sometimes this kind of false friends and differentiation in meaning can make the interpreter to do some mistakes accordingly. And etbar also, like in Hindi, it's to trust. Uzbek, it means to pay attention more in this meaning. And whenever I also had some research on borrowings, into Uzbek and into Hindi from Arabic and Persian languages. And I get to know that the borrowings of languages from Persian and Arabic, Uzbek language borrow direct words, like from Arabic itself. And Hindi, even borrowings from maybe some scholars has another doubts about it, another view of it. But as I analyze it and as I have checked from dictionaries, to Hindi, even Arabic, most of Arabic words came through Farsi, through Persian language, because whenever I tried to check the meaning in Arabic, it came direct. All meanings which has Arabic has Uzbek language, but in Hindi, the one meanings Hindi doesn't have. Only one meaning. So I get to know that the borrowings from Arabic language comes through Persian into Hindi, this way only. So this kind of analysis are like, I'm interested on that, on etymology of the becoming of language also, words also, because we have very similar vocabulary, we have lexicology with Hindi language. There is a differ, but some parts of are same as Uzbek, and it's very surprisingly being different family languages, so many similarity we can see in that. Here, false friends in phraseology I have given before, Nani Marjana. Sometimes we can get it as a, not phraseology, but just real sentence. Nani Marjana to die grandmother, or to get sad as a phraseology. So sometimes if the translator of foreign language doesn't know the real structure, the context and the meaning of this kind of phraseology, they can do translation direct like this only. Here, false friends in periodical lexicology, like Begum, Begum. As we know, historical times, Begum used to address to women, and in Uzbek history also, it was like literature history also, it was to women. But nowadays it become Begum, and nowadays in Uzbek language, Begum used to husband, to address husband. In Uzbek language, the wife use Begum, and this is the how to historical words are getting changed with the meaning, with the structure. Some of them archaic words, some of them historical words, and they are doing change. The same one is with daftar. We know the daftar word also used in Hindi as an office, but in historical time, daftar, like in Uzbek, it means the notebook. And in historical texts, we can see that it was used as a notebook also. In historical novels, daftar said used as a notebook in Hindi also. So this kind of differentiation in lexical problems we can see. And here, next one is false friends on cultural understanding of words, method of concretization and generalization. Here, I will give you the word naan, the type of bread in India, and naan in Hindi also we have this word, and Uzbek also we have this word, but in Hindi, this is the happening in the meaning of concretization and generalization. What the meaning? What's the use of these words? Like naan we use for in India, in Hindi we use this word, or in Indian cuisine we use this word for specific bread type, like which is made in tandoor, right? So, and in Uzbek, we have expanded meaning, generalization. Like in Uzbek, naan, for all type of bread, for word bread, we use naan, non. And in Hindi, it's mostly we use roti for all types, and there is a different type of roti we can understand. So this kind of concretization in Hindi, specific type of bread, and generalization, expanding meaning of in Uzbek, we have this kind of false friends for interpreter while doing translation. In addition, I want to say for false friends, mostly these false friends are happening in one language family languages, mostly. But as I mentioned earlier, in Hindi and Uzbek, we have this kind of false friends. And for interpreter should be aware of this kind of words to do translation and to do it in the right way. In conclusion, let me say that the translation of Indian words into Old Uzbek, as you know, Turki language started indirectly from their time of Karahanids of the 20th century to the first half of the 20th century, 12th century to the first half of the 20th century. And from the second half of 20th century, the works of Indian writers were translated into Uzbek directly from the original, that from Hindi and Urdu languages. It is the 1960s of 20th century. Premchand works have special place in the world recognition of Indian literature because as you know, it started from Russian literature also. It started from Russian literature because, as you know, the Tolstoy, the writer, Russian writer, and Premchand had a very good connection and literary relation. As we know, Premchand also had a lot of translations of Tolstoy, and Tolstoy also had to write about Premchand, and as well as the writer Ghafur Ghulam, of Uzbek literature, writer Ghafur Ghulam, he also write a lot of about the Premchand, where he mentions that Premchand is the connection between literary relations of India and Uzbekistan also. And as I mentioned, the first translation was Premchand's novels, and it was relay translation through Russian. So this kind of things happened to collaborate, to do translations of Premchand. But moreover to Premchand, there was a translation of Krishan Chandra Yashpal, and lately it was translations of Bhisham Sahni also, like Basanti translated also into Uzbek. But mostly the man who mostly translated into Uzbek, it was Premchand. And that's why the work, all this work and others are taken in account and translated from Premchand and analyzed it, and samples also from Premchand. And next is the addressings. Addressings is very complicated, very, very huge work can be done on translation of addressings by regions and regional languages of India, because in literature we can see in Hindi literature, we can see the different descriptions of writers and different ways of translation of addressings. False friends, it's very similar to, very close to do mistake to translator, and hopefully every translator, the one professor, Professor Hamidov of Turkish in our university, he's saying that the false friend are not must to be happen, because whenever the shortage of knowledge of interpreter, only in that case interpreter can do mistake on false friends of translator. But still we have this kind of similarity, and I want to say one very interesting happened when I was student. There was an international conference. And we were very young, like students, volunteers. So one Indian professor came, and it was lunchtime. So he was entering the room, another room. The students used to say, and he said, मैं आपको तकलीफ करता हूँ. Then he professor was, नहीं कोई तकलीफ नहीं. He used to say like this. Then he said, नहीं मैं आपको तकलीफ करता हूँ. So there was the real way when I see the false friends of the interpreter is how it works. The professor was feeling so bad. He used to say, no, कोई तकलीफ नहीं है. But the students like pressured on him, मैं आपको तकलीफ करता हूँ. So I mean, sometimes not knowing the real language and using this kind of false friends can make us this kind of funny situation, can make us in this kind of funny situation. So that's why I wish we should not, like, we should never, the language learning student never should feel fear to translate something. But in the same time, the person should be conscious about it, like what to translate, how to translate, go deep in translation, go deep in structure of the language, culture, etc. So I think it's my lecture finished for now. If any questions, and I have given the question the first time, what will be the phraseology translation? If any student has an answer for this, also I'll be happy to hear from the students and questions, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We learned so much from Nan to Nani. And yes, questions are anticipated, ma'am, and I request the participants to raise their hands. Those of the participants who have questions may please raise their hands. And I would request the IT team to kindly allow participants to question.
Sir is here who can add on something. Hello, Dr. Santosh sir. Are you there? Yes.
Yes, I am here.
If you can Add on something.
या सभी को नमस्कार। डॉक्टर नीलूफर जी, आपका व्याख्यान बहुत ही अच्छा रहा और आपने एक विदेशी के तौर पर अनुवाद की समस्याओं को हमारे सामने प्रस्तुत किया। और जैसे आप जानते हैं कि भारत जो है वो बहुभाषी देश है और भारत के लगभग सभी राज्यों के लोग बहुभाषी हैं, उनको 2 या 3 भाषाएं आती ही हैं।
Sorry to interrupt you. Actually, there will be a lot of participants who come across the like country. So across the not only country but outside of country, so they may not understand the Hindi certain times. So it would be better if you speak in English, sir, so they will understand, sir.
Sure. What I was telling is that Dr. Neelufar's presentation was wonderful, and as she has presented her presentation from a foreigner's point of view. As far as Indians are concerned, most of us are bilingual or even trilingual, or like me, I speak 5 languages and I translate in 5 languages. And it depends on people's choice to learn the languages and work on it. And the examples what Dr. Neelufar had given is very common to us, known to us. So when we translate between Indian languages, it doesn't become a problem. I would just like to add a few points. Incidentally, even I had planned something regarding to Premchand and Godan in translation. Godan has 3 translations in English. The first translation is done by Jai Ratan Singh and Purushottam Lal into English. And now what they have done is, Godan is termed as the gift of cow in English translation. Now, you know, in Indian context, Godan, गाय को दान देना. Now, दान देना और किसी को तोहफे में कुछ देना, it is different. It's not the same. दान, you could relate the particular term as maybe alms. हम कहते हैं कि हम भिक्षुओं को दान देते हैं, वहां पे दान आता है. It's called alms. So Godan cannot be gift of cow. What I mean to say is the translators have faltered in the title itself. And it's very sad to say that in spite of trying to translate Godan into English, the translators had completely faltered in their translation at many places. I'll give you certain examples. You know, the term Patni, it's used by Premchand in many of the places. And most of us know we have at least 25 to 30 words that denotes Patni in Hindi itself. Ardhangini, Patni, Bivi, there's so many other words. But into English, you have only one word, wife. The 25 words that Premchand uses in Godan has different meanings, but the entire wife cannot give the meanings that which Premchand has used for the word Patni. Similarly, you can see in Godan, there are several relations, words connected to relations used, like chachere, fafere, mamere, mausere. And for the entire structure, you have only one word in English, that's cousin. The same happens when the translator translates chachere or fafere into English. He just uses the word cousin, which does not do justice to the original. Also, when we translate, we are not translating a particular passage from a source language to a target language, but we are translating a culture into a different culture. You have, as Professor Neelufar has said, she used several examples of Dada. Somewhere it's grandfather, somewhere it's elder brother. Similarly, we have the word Amma and Nana in Telugu. A small child is addressed as Nana nu ekkadiki veltunnavu. It means, baby, where are you going? No, Nana word denotes father in Telugu. But the same word is used to address a small child or 5-year-old child. Now, if the translator who does not understand the culture of Telugu, of calling the child also Nana, which is denoting father, he would translate it as, father, where are you going? Rather than translating it as, baby, where are you going? So it's also important for a translator not only know how to read, write these two languages, understanding the two languages, that is the source language and the target language, but also if he has lived or if he knows the culture in depth of that particular, both the languages, he can do more justice to the original rather than giving it as a word-to-word translation or ending up it as an absurd translation. Another thing which I wanted to share in translation is we can use footnotes while translation. Mostly when we translate poetry, I'll just give you one example. There's a poem by Ekant Srivastava. He's a Hindi poet. There's a particular passage in the poem. यह रंग उस आग का है जिसे टेसू कहते हैं, इसके चमकने पर बसंत आता है. This color is of that fire which is known as tesu, and as it sparks, the spring arrives. Now, tesu is a kind of red flower seen in North India, not even in South India, only in North India. And how do you a person with English language? I mean, he has no idea about tesu because it doesn't, it's not there in a foreign land. Now, you need to explain this as tesu, giving a footnote as a kind of red flower, mostly seen in North India. And there's one more thing which comes to my mind while giving footnotes. Footnotes also should not be in such a way that that becomes again a paragraph. You are trying to explain a particular incident or passage or a term in footnote. So it should be as simple as it, but it should connect to the target audience and the meaning should be conveyed. Most of the things while translation takes place is the cultural things which is taken into account and which cannot be rendered into the target language because of the cultural specificities of most Indian languages. Last thing what I would like to share you is, as I said, I speak 5 languages. I'm not against English language, but the reality is that English is a language which cannot comprehend and assimilate Indian emotions. So what happens when we translate a particular phrase? For example, you're translating a Malayalam short story from Malayalam to English, and through English, it reaches another language. So when you translate from Malayalam to English, you lose 15% from the original because you take a lot of liberty to translate into English because English cannot accommodate your feelings and emotions. Now, from English, when it travels to another Indian language, you lose another 15%. So from the original to the target language, you lose 30% in translation. So my request to the students or the practitioners of translation is, if you know 2 or more languages, try to do direct translation instead of taking the help of English language, because you lose a lot while you take the help of English language. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to speak a few words on this particular day. And again, I congratulate Amity University for this wonderful program and congratulate Dr. Neelufer for a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, Dr. Mahmoodil also.
Thank you very much, Dr. Santosh Alex. It's very happy to see you here. And Dr. Santosh Alex had written problems, theory of translation from Hindi into other languages, and we are going to add his books also in our curriculum.
Thank you.
And as you said, yes, the title translation is very important, and you know what? mostly in Uzbek, for example, Godan is translated as a sacrifice.
Okay.
Sacrifice. So not every language has this kind of specification. Maybe the one you got can be like this, but we have to take in attention the different situations, like political issues also, this kind of things, you know, the time period, politics also, this kind of thing, of course, affects to be published or denied by publishing houses also, that only title. And always I say to students, the translation, I advise them to read original text, because translation, it is understanding translator also. It's not real meaning of author. Translator translates what he or she understands, but we cannot get the real meaning of the author, what the author wants to say. These kind of things also happening in our practice. Sometimes that's why we are advising students, whenever you start translating, you have to know this kind of things. Only after that, because till now I have not done big translations, because I still adding my experience. Because to start literary translation, it's not easy work to do, and mostly, as you said, this kind of some similar things to regional languages, even between India. These problems are faced in other languages also. And you said that some language cannot explain the original meaning of the language. Of course, because the interpreter is not ready, or translator is not ready to explain. And the translator, when he will do the professional, knowing his work, he will do 100% of translation. But still in translation, we know that 100% is, how to say, impossible. Because this language, one language, describes the culture its own. And every culture is unique in own language. And we cannot transfer all culture in another language. So every language has own beauty, own stylistic, all lexicology and all. Maybe the translator that couldn't find the description, some parts of translation, maybe interpreter or translation couldn't, but we cannot blame the language, that language cannot explain, but translator couldn't explain the thing. And every language unique and has own vocabulary. So this way, mostly like you said, this kind of problems of not explanation of this or other language, it's only the how to say, mistake or non-professionality of interpreter only. It's my opinion, of course. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Niloufar, it's true that you cannot translate the culture or the source text exactly into the target language. It's very true. But what I wanted to share is, do not attempt a wrong translation. If the translator is not able to understand the meaning given in the source language, if the writer is alive, he has all liberty to talk to the writer and understand the right meaning, so that he could provide the right meaning into the target language. But the problem is that how serious are the translators who are attempting translations in literature? This is one first question to be addressed. The second thing, as you said, the publisher is also responsible to not to publish a what you call unmerited translation. For him, books are a business. There is no ethics as far as publishing is concerned nowadays. They want to somehow publish the book, sell it, and make profit out of it. And as you know, we are living in a world where translation has become more and more relevant, and it is the most important faculty as of on today. It was a time when translation was linked to comparative literature in the departments, and today it's become an independent faculty. You have translation studies in and around the world, and it's gaining more popularity. And the main focus should be to knit one another globally through translations. If there were no translators, then Premchand, Tolstoy, Brecht, Nietzsche, Neruda, all would have been confined to their own linguistic barriers. They would not have come out of the world, and people would not have known to them. It's only because of the translators. And as you said, there cannot be 100% translation. Maybe if I say, with my 31 years of experience, with 63 books published in translations and creative writing, I could say, if you attempt 80%, if your translation is 80% also, you have done justice to the original, then also it's a gift to the another language people who can understand reading a famous Uzbek writer. As you said, I was really happy to see that the example you gave, Ghav par namak chidakna. So what Amir Faizullah did was, he took Uzbek culture into consideration, and there he gave the meaning kicking on the dead man. Even though kicking on the dead man doesn't give the English meaning of the original Hindi, but in Uzbek, the meaning is very same and very true to the original what Godan, in what Premchand has written in Godan. So that is the way the translation has to be done. You need not care how it is said, what means have been taken. We say in Hindi, स्रोत भाषा के भाव को अगर आप लक्ष्य भाषा में ठीक तरह से उतार पाते हो, तो आप एक सफल अनुवादक हो। शब्द दर शब्द अनुवाद नहीं होना चाहिए, कुछ छोड़ना नहीं चाहिए, कुछ जोड़ना नहीं चाहिए, बस अगर आप भाव को लेके आते हो तो आप एक सफल अनुवादक हो। The crux of the text, if you're bringing it into the target language, then be it a novel, be it a short story, be it any genre of literature, the translator is successful, and that is the way things has to be.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll very quickly take a question, ma'am. It is asked by Dr. Safia Asad, and she asks, what are the main requirements to write a good article in translation studies?
Actually, you know, whatever you do research, I think whenever you do research, the main requirement is your research. It's interesting for you, it's good for you. For example, nowadays in translation studies, cultural studies is very famous multicultural studies. For example, the cultural specification of that nation and how it is translated to another language, from main language to target language, and how it is given transformation, how it's happened. Because in articles, the most problems of translation, it's lexical issues. Lexical issues are, as it is said, like some how to say, it's not sometimes when the interpreter is not translating right way, we cannot feel the author, we cannot feel the literature, we cannot understand. So in translation, the best thing is lexical part and semantics. And this is, of course, this field, lexical semantics, will never end. Like whenever you start learning, even mother tongue, every time whenever you read books and all, you earning more vocabulary, you starting learning more. And if you're doing translation to another language, so you are doing it double. So that's why the phraseology, proverbs, cultural aspects, understandings, and this kind of things will never end. Like every time you learn the cultural specification of the one country or one nation or one literature, how to translate into your language. So it will never stop. So you can do a lot of research in only one word. Baba, you can do one research. And that's why the person should get to know how to explain and recreate this kind of things.
And one of the panelists, ma'am, requested to know about the job avenues available for translators and interpreters. And Honorable Vice Chancellor has already replied to him that, say, there's a growth in requirement of translators and interpreters, say, up to 20%. So there's a lot of job avenues. So would you like to say something on that, ma'am?
Actually, the foreign languages, and translators nowadays, when I was a kid, the world was so big, but only one language can take us so close. Language. So interpreters also, they're saving time, they're saving money. But the first is I'm talking about oral translation. If we will take into account conference translation and simultaneous translators, one person can save so many money, like for visitors, for accommodation, for food, and all these things. And nowadays, this kind of online webinars are becoming very common for us, and these kind of programs like Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, and all, they're also having the simultaneous interpretation programs. So and conferences, the international relations getting wide, and the need of interpreters, need of language knowing people, language knowing professions are required more. And it would be my advice to language learning students. Sometimes I have also getting this kind of question that what we will do, which should we go to research, to do research on, because not every student who is learning language are qualified or has his own wish to work as a teacher, as a professor or interpreter. So sometimes I'm showing the way to them also. If you want to be professional in your work, if you learn Hindi, so just learn what fields are getting promoted, getting developed with India, for example, textile, IT, medical science, and all. So after language, go for second diploma as a professional. If you are not going to do professor or to do teaching or interpreting, you can always take another chance, another diploma to be a professional doctor or professional IT programmer or this kind of thing. So that's why this language, and I want to underline that if you know language well, you never lose your time. You will get job everywhere if you know very well language. So you can find or not, but knowing good language very well, so it will be helping you. And nowadays in Uzbekistan also, the translation studies nowadays, from 2020 up to 2023, I was heading translation studies department. So in that department, we have 14 Oriental languages. It starts from Hindi, Urdu, Korean, Persian, Arabic, Japanese, Chinese, Dari, Pashto, and others. So we prepare interpreters on these languages because there is demand on these languages. So Additionally, they study European languages because our university is Oriental studies. We are most oriented on Oriental languages. And additionally, they study English, German, French, and Spanish. And as you know, Uzbekistan is also has like Russian and Uzbek. It was like from our time, from childhood, we know Russian as our mother tongue, Russian, Uzbek, and nowadays English language getting popular in Uzbekistan. So regarding the job for interpreters, you always can get, but you should get your way in right direction, in your way of interest. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Just another question we'll take. This is asked by Mohammad Mansoor, and he says, could you please explain the difference between phraseology and analogy with examples?
Phraseology, it's a lexical unit. Analogy, it's a way of translation. For example, we said, "Gav par namak chirka." Analogy, when we do translation of in Uzbek, not the same structure. For example, if we say to put salt in your injury, it will be equivalency. If in English we have the same meaning and same structure of the phraseology building, it's equivalency. And when you have same meaning but different structure of phraseology, it's analogy, way of translation of phraseology. There's three ways of translation of phraseology. First is to find equivalency in another language. Second is to find analogy in the second language. And third is word by word or meaning translation only.
And we'll just take up another, this is interesting, so I thought I would take this, ma'am. It is written by Dr. Srihan, and it is asked, like, if a text is originally written in English with a few dialogues from another rural dialect of Hindi to show the difference in background of characters in the original source, then how was this linguistic distinction maintained in the translation?
This is the difficult part. Actually, to explain how. For example, I used only this dada only, or there will be sometimes we read literature in Hindi, and sometimes the people who are uneducated, the characters also come in literature. So students getting to know, like, here it's written wrong. See, this word is wrong sometimes. So sometimes there will be character from Marathi and Hindi. So some small and big E or this kind of vowels, there will be some in Hindi it's there, but in Marathi it's not there. So they starting taking the mistakes. Professor, it's written mistake, it's technical mistake maybe in book. I say no, it's not like this. It's the way of explanation of writer, that this one character is explaining himself because he is uneducated and he wants to explain how is pronunciation of this character or something wrong like this. But in this case, if interpreter understands of this kind of another dialect or another language or another Indian language, of course it's good, but not always it happens that the interpreter knows many languages. Foreign interpreter, I mean. Indian interpreters, they get to know and they can explain, but foreign interpreter not always get to know this kind of things. And if it's happened like this, so the translator use this kind of thing. The key explained in the text, he is speaking in this dialect. and or translated this dialect and said translated in own dialect way, like say it in own dialect way. This kind of way also we have in translation.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now invite Dr. Mohaminul Islam to propose a vote of thanks.
Before that, ma'am, Dr. Indrani Singh is also there. Could she just speak for a moment?
Yes, sure, sir. Ma'am.
I'm already left actually. I think so because.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, very good afternoon to all present here. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor, thank you so much, sir. It was an absolute pleasure to listen to our esteemed speakers. Today is Professor Nilufar Pujjeva. I extend my profound gratitude to our esteemed speakers for accepting our invitation and taking time from her busy schedule to grace our event. Thank you so much, ma'am. On behalf of MIT School of Language, MIT University Chhattisgarh, I, Dr. Mohaminul Islam, coordinator of the event, express my sincere thanks to our honorable founder presidents, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan sir, honorable chairman, Dr. Asim Chauhan sir, honorable chancellor sir, Dr. W. Selva Murthy sir, honorable vice chancellor sir, Professor Piyush Kant Pandey sir, for their motivation, trust, and guidance. Thank you so much, sir. My heartfelt thanks to our beloved HOD, MIT School of Language, and Dean, Faculty of Arts, and convener of this program, Professor Indrani Singh Roy, ma'am, for her valuable time, guidance, and enthusiastic encouragement. I thank her in her absence. And I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our beloved colleagues, Dr. Suparna Karkun, ma'am, Dr. Patis Padi sir, and Dr. Subhankar sir, Ms. Disha, ma'am, and Mr. Jiaul sir, Ms. Jollis ma'am, and Rajiv sir from SFT for their interest in the progress of making this event a grand success. My heartfelt thanks to our entire MIT fraternity for becoming an integral part of this event. A special thanks to our IT team from our university as well as the main campus for their utmost support for this event. I also express my gratitude to all the participants. We have more than 300 registration, and I think many of the I got called from many colleges, and they said that can we telecast it online to our students, and then I said, okay, let me take permission first, then I'll let you know. So they are telecasting your lecture, ma'am. And I thank all of them to telecasting your lecture, ma'am. Okay, and their passion and commitment for long life learning process have elevated and collective understanding of translation studies. I really thank. I express my heartfelt gratitude to all of them, and my not least, but the last one, thanks to all of them. And I especially thanks again and again to our Vice Chancellor, sir, for giving us lots of opportunity to conduct such kind of program. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you all of you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Sadda, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr.
Thank you
Nilofer,
very
when you visit India next time, please do visit our university also.
Yes,
For
sir. We had
sure.
that communication already with her.
For sure, maybe there is one international conference in Banaras Hindu University on translation studies in 2024 January. I am planning to visit.
Wow.
Hopefully, I'll come and see you all people
Yes,
and thank all of you in the person.
Sure.
Hope to see you and always welcome to Uzbekistan. Nowadays, this September, October month is very nice, pleasant. Please come to and visit us. And you have Amity University branch in Uzbekistan in Tashkent. So always welcome because you will feel at home.
Certainly.
Thank you very
certainly,
much.
Certainly. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.